I'm going to leave a link in the description to some of the websites that I use in order to pull some of this information from if you guys want to take a look at it yourselves.
You're fired!
As someone who works just to get by day, I couldn't even imagine what some of these people are going through, you know, just having to go into work one day and...
Parker, hello, you're fired.
Yeah, so basically in the last several weeks, a lot of gaming industry giants have decided to lay off their employees, basically leaving thousands of people just, you know, jobless. Basically imagine you're chilling in your office at work, you know, you're working on your spreadsheet or you're just looking at some graphs that deal with stocks and shit, and your boss just walks in and, you know, he goes,
Parker, hello, you're fired.
Why?
because that's kind of like basically what's been happening to a lot of people. Basically, you got companies like Sony, EA, Microsoft, all laying off small percentages of their workforces. You know, small percents. Can't be that many people, you know. What's the big deal? The big deal is that these are super big companies and a small percentage still ends up being a decent amount of people with no jobs. I want to start off with these two screenshots revolving around EA first. Right here on the screenshot on the left, you see that this is from the CEO himself stating that due to the accelerating industry transformation, significant changes have been made to player needs and motivations, and so these layoffs are in response to that. Excuse my French here, but that just sounds like a lot of hoopla to me, because what exactly do you mean that this is in response to change in player needs and motivations? I don't see how a change in player needs and motivations calls for you to lay off 5% of your workforce, or 670 people. And if we take a little bit of a break from talking about people losing their jobs, on that left hand side, if you look at that second paragraph, it reads, as part of its restructuring, EA is moving away from the development of future licensed IP. Basically meaning that any, you know, property that they got the license for, they won't be making any more games around them. For example, Star Wars. And a little bit further down, it says that Respawn's Star Wars first-person shooter has been canceled. So any you know, avid Star Wars fans out there who were probably waiting for a first-person shooter revolving around Star Wars, you're not gonna get it, at least not anytime soon. Me personally, I don't really care about Star Wars, so this doesn't affect me, but I know that there are a lot of Star Wars fans out there. I mean, it's a fucking huge property. Either way, it does suck. I'm sure that there was people working on the game that really had a lot of passion for it and were probably trying to make something out of it. And even though I've never been, you know, a big fan of Star Wars, an idea of first-person shooter with, like, you know, blasters and force pulling and all that shit still does seem kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Probably would have gave it a go on the betas or, you know, just free trials or some shit, but well, it's not gonna happen because there's no more game that's gonna come out, and you know, it just got shut down. They just said, yeah, no, fuck you, and drop what you're doing, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, and yeah, suck our dicks. Now, if you take a look at the right hand side and you look at the screenshot here, there is a lot of big numbers and percentages, and a lot of people might not know what this means. Me personally, I know maybe like what 50% of it means, but I can wrap my head around the idea of what it means. And the point of putting this here is just to kind of talk about how whatever the decision, you know, making process was, I mean, it has to be about money, because at the end of the day, this is a company, and EA is known for being a very greedy company, especially in the gaming industry. However, that does not mean that they were in any way, shape, or form in some kind of financial struggle or trouble, because as you can see by the first sentence, EA reported it saw record live service sales led by its EA Sports FC franchise in the company's final quarter in 2023. Now, keep in mind that there's still one more quarter for the fiscal year of 2024, and it should end this month in March, so we should be seeing revenue, profits, and all those big numbers coming out from EA sometime this month, if not April, and we'll basically see how they were affected money-wise in these past 3 months, and then overall in the past 12 months. But their expected targets and goals definitely don't look like they've taken any type of hit. So again, I'm gonna put this out there and say that whatever the reason for the decision of letting go their employees does not have to do with them being in any type of financial trouble whatsoever. Now I want you to imagine yourself waking up to a new email from the CEO of the company that you work for, and it basically reads something along the lines of this. Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of, rough to say the very least. Something I'm noticing here is that, they're kind of just falling back on this. Well, due to the evolving economic landscape, we have to do 1, 2, and the third. And it's like, me personally, I don't think that letting go of a substantial amount of your workers is the way to go about, maintaining long-term sustainability and to deliver the best experiences possible. I mean, because if those are your goals at the end of the day, then why get rid of the people who are producing, developing the things that make you money? These people are passionate about what they do, the art that they're creating, yet you're letting them go because the economy. At the end of the day, this kind of just comes down to what's best for business, or in other terms, what's best for the man in the suit, not for the actual worker. If you just look at, some of the bulleted points. PlayStation Studios London studio shutting down entirely. So, there goes an entire studio just being put out of a job. I don't know how many heads work over there, but it's gotta be a decent amount of people. And, they just don't have a job anymore. You got reductions in Fire Sprite, which are the people who worked on Horizon Call of the Mountain, the PlayStation VR game. I don't know how many people in Fire Sprite just lost their jobs or are going to lose their jobs soon enough, but it's happening. And you got studios like Naughty Dog, Insomniac, and Gorilla all being affected by these layoffs. This is all around the world. It's not just here in the US. Sony is a huge company with reach everywhere. Moving on now to Microsoft. Microsoft decided to lay off 8% of its gaming workforce across Activision Blizzard and its own Xbox group, roughly 1,900 employees. 900 of those employees work at Activision Blizzard in California, and they will be laid off at the end of this month, March 2024. Among those let go of the 1900, 86 of them worked for the studio Toys for Bob, who are known for Crash 4, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which is the remaster of the 3 Spyro games, and Skylanders, which I didn't even know about. Skylanders kind of just died out a few years back, probably when I was in like middle school or some shit. That Skylander shit is old as hell. Now, I wanted to bring up Toys for Bob here because Toys for Bob, being a gaming studio, decided that it was going to part ways with Activision and go indie. Now, me personally, I think that is a great decision for the studio. I think that overall, it could definitely bring them a lot of success in the future. Just depends on how they play their cards, because in recent memory, 2 indie titles, Lethal Company and Helldivers 2, created by one singular dev, and the other created by a small dev team comprised of barely over 100 employees, have dominated the gaming space in the past few months. I'm hoping to see these studios use these examples as a reminder that all you really need for your game to find immense success nowadays is just a little bit of passion and care. These developers took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of care in creating their games. Because of that, they have gained massive fan bases who on the daily are indulging in their content that I know they have to be very proud of creating. I think what's the worst part about all of this now too is that those who didn't lose their jobs now have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. They have to work even harder now that their staff has been cut down. The work environment has to be pretty negative right now, I'd have to imagine. Morale has to be at like an all-time low. I can't imagine going into an office at one of these studios and not feeling anxious, wondering if I'd be the next person to just get let go. All of these studios and companies are relying on the workers that are still there to perform at the top of their game and to be able to deliver top-notch, high-quality product. And with everything that's gone down, I'd have to imagine that that's got to be pretty difficult. Here's a little screenshot to go with what I just said. This talks about how the former president of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, took a 50% pay cut in order to help pay for employees' salaries. He stated, "If we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease, and I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that could impress people around the world." And this is a wonderful gesture to see the former president of a company, especially one like Nintendo, do. The guy was selfless, not even thinking about the hit that his wallet would take, because he had the interest of the company in mind. And he knew that in order to bounce back from the commercial failure that was the Wii U, he would need a motivated, fully powered workforce, something that Nintendo wouldn't have had if they were forced to make layoffs. It's the act of a truly kind and thoughtful man, and one of a true leader. We probably won't be seeing any of the current CEOs / presidents following in his steps. Definitely hoping for the best for everybody, who ended up losing their jobs. I'm hoping that they're able to take their talents wherever they may be needed, but with the trend that these companies are setting and the hits that these studios are taking, it's kind of hard to have that optimistic kind of look for them. On that note, I think I'm gonna wrap up the video. I hope you guys found this information to be informative. I know I did while doing my research. As someone who spends his free time playing games, I found this to be pretty interesting. I think it's good to know what goes on behind the scenes, and I'm sure that a lot of people watching this probably didn't even know any of this was going on, just because this is something that probably just got flushed out by all of the stuff that's in the media. But yeah, I think it's important to appreciate the work that these people put in when making the games that we play. That's gonna be it for this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.